Good afternoon. Before it's too late and you're a bit drowsy, I'd like to invite the ambassador to make his comments while he was a witness of what was going on in that troubled country. And since then, I'm sure he has spent a lot of time thinking about it. So, Ambassador.
Thank you. Actually, I wasn't there when the killing started, although I had witnessed occasional smaller violence that led up to it, and which was the basis on which many of us spoke with the RPF as well as with the Rwandan government, saying this agreement must be implemented or more violence is likely to take place. I spent only about 3 years in Rwanda, and I grew very fond of the Rwandans. I worked with all of them because it was our government's policy to encourage democracy, and because President Habyarimana, when I first presented my credentials, asked me if the United States would be helpful to Rwanda in creating democracy where it had never existed. I told him I'd love to, and that was basically what occupied me for the next 3 years. I also warned him that democracy is not a simple process. We've been working at it for 200 years in my country, and we haven't perfected it yet. But at the time, during those 3 years, we got together with all of the various political factions in the country. And I worked with all of them: Hutu, Tutsi, North, South, Catholics, Protestants, Muslims, even the Twa. And all of us felt that there was a possibility that a proper policy of power sharing could happen. And it got close enough so we had an agreement that was signed in Arusha in August of 1993. And so there was a real dialogue among the various antagonistic groups, and then of course it collapsed. And the purpose, I think, of trying to bring together a concept of truth and reconciliation among Rwandans, it's going to be a whole lot harder now. But it's still, there is a precedent in which Rwandans of ethnic groups and of religious have started. And maybe we can help them restart that process that was begun and failed. And I don't want to talk much because I think we have a couple of people here who can represent the concept of using the truth that Peter has worked so hard to develop, using that truth as a means of developing a bit of trust between the parties and as a means of building trust which can ultimately lead to reconciliation. And the one thing that is most important to me and most impressive to me was, although the differences existed, North and South and Tutsi and Hutu, they all have a concept of being Rwandans. And the two here don't look exactly alike, but they are both very, very much Rwandans. And they believe that and they sense it. And so there is a basis for the dialogue that I hope can bring some reconciliation among the people with whom I lived, worked, and became very fond.
Well, thank you again. I was speaking about 1.5 hours ago. I'm back again since many of you were not here. But me, I have 4 issues to bring to the table. Those 4 issues are human rights abuses before the genocide, during the genocide, and even after the genocide. Another issue is justice, which has been a one-way street, the winner's justice. The third one is the freedom of press. Rwanda is a country where people are not allowed, actually, to speak out to their mind, to tell what they feel like telling. The fourth one is political space. Political space is completely locked. You can get in. And the only excuse is that we cannot allow political space. Development is enough. You feel satisfied by development. And development without being able to vote for who you want, to be who you want, then that development is more or less nothing built on the sand, not on the rock.